So you got your boy Russ here. You got always the great Vince. So let's just head on into this. So where do you want to start?
Well, first and foremost, man, what a regular season. I mean, especially the ending to an amazing regular season full of a lot of storylines, a lot of drama, a lot of surprises. Um, Obviously, for those who got a chance to watch the last games on Sunday, it was a little bit of hard to watch. A lot of the teams that already made the playoffs, including the Lakers, basically sat. They played a lot of G League and second and third string players. So
Mm-hmm.
definitely wasn't like a day to really care as much, I guess, about the games going on. But I got to say, as a Lakers fan and as a fan of just, if you're a fan of another team, being able to have your team resting that last that last day of the regular season was amazing. Just from the standpoint that literally we got to watch these games in a different lens. Like, I think just about every Lakers fan was tuned into the Warriors Clippers game to see the
Oh
outcome
yeah,
of that. And I think that the Lakers got everything that they wanted. I mean, to be honest with you,
yeah,
uh, we'll talk about it in a second, but I mean, you could definitely tell that that was a game that both teams really wanted. And for the Clippers to come out on top on that, and to see, I believe this is the first game in a while where there were two players on both teams that had at least 30 points. Steph Curry, Jimmy Butler, and then on the other side it was James Harden and Kawhi Leonard, who has just, man, Kawhi Leonard. I haven't talked much about him in a while for a reason
mm-hmm.
because he's been hurt a lot. But
Mm-hmm.
if we got this version of Kawhi Leonard this postseason, it's concerning. I'm not gonna lie. So, yeah, man, I loved what I got a chance to see this regular season. Crazy, crazy time. Very entertaining all the way through. But yeah, man, that's really my take on it.
Now let's look at the West standings here and see how it shook up because, man, I'll tell you what, my head was cooking just trying to figure out all the different, you know, figurations of what the standings could have looked like. I don't know if I've ever seen a crazier Wild Wild West than than this one because it was like if this team wins, then they're going to be here. I mean, you could have been the fourth seed, or you could have been the eighth seed, all because of one game because someone else lost the game. It was crazy. But here's the West standings. I mean, we got Thunder where we expected. We got Rockets where we expected. Um, Lakers where we expected. Definitely on that last day, of course. Um, and we're just talking about like where we expected on the last day of the regular season. So the three teams in the top definitely secured their standings there. The Nuggets they secured the fourth. Clippers secured the fifth. Timberwolves secured sixth. Warriors ended up falling down out of the playoffs into the plan, which is we're going to go into here soon, just to talk about a little bit. Definitely happy as a Lakers fan, and I think a lot of the NBA was kind of hoping that the Lakers and the Warriors would match up in the first round, so that way they'd get, one of those two teams would have to be out. But now it's like, man, it just makes it even harder for any of those other teams to like make it through when you got the good teams not really playing each other in the first round. It's like all the good teams are facing a team that's, maybe not as good as, people thought. And so it's going to shake up to get all the teams that aren't as good out of the playoffs and leave all the ones that are really good to face off each other. I think the second and third round, like the semifinals conference and the final conference round, is going to be definitely very interesting. Grizzlies at 8. So, of course, we got the Kings at 9 and then the Mavericks at 10. Very interesting for sure. So, play-in starts tomorrow, Warriors, Grizzlies. And then we got Kings, Mavericks on Wednesday. I'm going to move over here to the East. I'm going to let you go for that one. So, anything surprising? Anything shocking to you here?
I mean, to be honest with you, I would say the biggest shocking storyline of this season has to, for sure, without a doubt, be the Detroit Pistons. I mean, I'm not entirely sure what the predictions was for this team this season. I can only imagine it was maybe 20 wins, considering the past like 2 or 3 seasons they were famously known for a losing streak versus having a winning culture. So for the Pistons to literally go 44-38, I can't remember the last time this team had even gone above 500 in a season. It's been quite a while. And the saying around the media and the saying around other podcasters is the Pistons are very dangerous. If you're a Knicks fan, you're not really sleeping that easy. Being easy with all the things that transpired for your season this year. Jalen Brunson with the towards the end of the regular season injury with that ankle, you're not sure what version of Jalen Brunson you're really going to get. Is it 75%, 85%, 90%? Nobody's ever fully going to be 100% going into the postseason, and that's fine. You just need to have enough of the oof to go into the postseason run, because you're really talking about winning 16 games. If you can win 16 games, that's all it takes to win a championship. So I definitely think the biggest surprise, without a doubt, has to be the Pistons. I will also say I'm a little surprised by the Magic. Last season, I was actually very surprised at how the Magic finished. To see them fall to 7, I mean, I can't be too surprised because I feel like their season was unfortunately like a lot of other teams this season, which was riddled with injury. I feel like once Mo Wagner kind of got injured, their team kind of slowly went away. And then obviously that Paolo earlier in the season, Paolo coming back. And then, it's just, I had actually big hopes for the Magic. And I'm saying that in a way as if like their season's done. Clearly not. They are in the play-in, which will be, I believe, if not tomorrow, Wednesday. If I'm a Magic's fan, I actually wouldn't mind matching up against the Celtics versus, say, like the Cavaliers. One thing I paid a close attention to for this year's Magic team is they're big. They got a really big lineup, even without Mo Wagner. And I feel like to stay with the Celtics, especially because they're more perimeter players, you want to try to force physicality on them. If you can get physicality on, say, like a Kristaps Porzingis, 7'3", known for nagging injuries, you can kind of, especially with the playoffs coming, usually the referees, they tend to let a lot more physicality kind of take play compared to the regular season.
Yeah.
I'm certainly hopeful that that is the case because the referees this regular season, I mean, not to get personal, but it was some questionable calling for certain teams, certain players. Yeah. I'm going to leave it at that. Hopefully we don't have to deal with that during the postseason. But just going back to the point, I think the Magic, I don't think it's as easy as people are kind of saying for the Celtics. Like, and I'm not here to hate the Celtics. I think the Celtics are proven. They're obviously last year's NBA champions. But everybody, like I said, it's fair game. And I think that the Magic actually present somewhat of a challenge. I think that the Celtics are still going to win, but I don't think it's going to be a sweep.
Yeah, that's an interesting take, actually, because some would say Celtics in 4, but
you could say the Bulls, even though the Bulls are at 9. Arguably, the Bulls had one of the greatest finishes to the end of the season, considering how poor they looked all year round. I mean, Josh Giddey went on like a legendary run, whooping that tail on the Lakers. Like, thank you for that, Josh Giddey. We were very appreciative of that. Had averaged a triple-double in those 2 games against the Lakers and had a lot of high notes towards the later end. And then also Kobe White, man. Kobe White is a emerging solidified star. Very young. I'm not going to lie. Like, when he came into the league, I wasn't really sure what kind of player he was going to be, if he was going to actually be a star, potential star player, if he was just going to be kind of more like a regular rotational starter type of player, but not somebody you would consider an all-star someday. He has so much potential. I liked a lot of his game. He's one of those quick, agile point guards, combo guards, if you want to say, who almost has like a comp between, like, I see a lot of like Darius Garland, like those smaller guards, combo guards that are point guards, but they're really also shooting guards. They can light it up at any time. They're very quick, very, twitchy, got a fast twitch, and they're fast, can blow right past you. Yeah, man. I think the Bulls next season, I think they actually have a chance to. I mean, I don't know if I would say make it into that playoff line, but I could see some improvement depending on what they do in the offseason in terms of what they do with the rest of the roster.
Yeah.
But I will say this, man, about the Eastern Conference. Like, there's a reason why the media doesn't talk about the Eastern Conference as much as the West, because it's almost predictable. Like, if you look at the difference from the East and the West, you had literally, just about 8 teams that had at least 50 or like 2 losses less than 50 wins in a season. That's crazy. Not to mention, 50-win seasons typically in the past usually keeps your job. Not this season. Apparently, if you're the Denver Nuggets and you won 50 games in the season, you lose your job. Shout out Michael Malone. Then you look at the Memphis Grizzlies, almost 50-win season. See you later, Taylor Jenkins. And, I mean, you got the Kings, but, with Mike Brown. But I don't know. This was a very weird year. Like a very weird year, especially for the coaches. And I know we're going to talk about that, but shoot, might as well talk about it now. This year for the coaches was crazy. I mean, let's just start from the very beginning, earlier in the season. Mike Brown getting fired and let go, and then that triggered.
Oh, I forgot about that one.
Exactly. Nobody remembers now because of all the news with all the others. And you know what's funny? The 4 or 5, actually 5 coaches now, I believe, that got fired. 3 out of those 5, his name starts with Mike. So if your name is Mike and you're a coach, you might want to either go by your middle name. I don't know, but you got Mike Brown gone. You got Michael Malone gone. You got Mike Budenholzer just got left. So
oh my gosh, you're right.
It's not your year.
I didn't think about that.
That's what
I didn't think about that.
I'm like, dang, man, this is not Mike's year. And you know what? If you're a Lakers fan, hopefully this is a LeBron year, so we could talk about Michael Jordan not being the greatest of all time. I know you like to hear that because you're the bronze-sexual of us too. So I just thought the situation was crazy.
Wait. What did you say about Mike Budenholzer? The last 2 years?
Yeah, he's been with the Suns for the last 2 years, but
No. Frank Vogel was the coach last year.
Was he really? I thought.
Yeah.
Or Mike was the coach.
No, this is three straight seasons the Suns have had a new coach. It's been Monty Williams, Frank Vogel, and then Mike Budenholzer.
This only helps JJ Redick and his staff and his players' case to be getting some of these awards. Because I'm so tired of seeing the polls for like the regular season awards, and I barely, if not never, see any Lakers on it. And it's so confusing to me because it's like all the media ever does is talk about the Lakers. They love talking LeBron, even when it's not even about the Lakers. They love talking about how the Lakers aren't this one moment, and then the next moment when they get a big win, oh, I think the Lakers can make it to the Western Conference Finals. They have a chance. And then as soon as another team comes out of the blue, like the Clippers, the Warriors, now they're switching tunes. Now it's not about the Lakers. Now it's about these other things. They're almost like children. It's like they like to just talk a lot about the new shiny thing. When the new shiny thing comes, oh, I think they have a better chance than this proven shiny thing that's been doing this for quite a bit. They also haven't talked about the fact that we just had a 50-win season with a first-year coach who literally coached in one season like 3 intervals of seasons. You had the AD portion of the season. You had the no AD, no Luka portion of the season. Then you had the Luka portion of the season combined with all these nagging injuries. Injuries from, beg my pardon.
Rudy and LeBron.
A little bit of Austin Reeves. He's been more reliable this season, thankfully, but he also had his, moments. You also had Gabe Vincent out and in, things of that nature. And then, you also had the fact that we had to trade to get Dorian Finney-Smith. We made a lot more trades this season than we probably did in the last 2 seasons combined, to be honest with you. And the fact that JJ was expected to take this team to a successful season and a successful season for the Lakers, obviously is always going to be a championship. But if we're being realistic for a first-year NBA head coach, if you won 50 games as a first-time head coach in anything, bro, you're at least considered to be coach of the year. If you take a look at any of the coach of the year like candidates,
Mm-hmm.
nowhere to be found. Nowhere. So to me, it's just kind of like, where's this coming from? What does it take? What more does JJ
Mm-hmm.
have to prove in the regular season? Because it's a regular season award, not a playoffs, not a postseason. It's regular season's award. What more
Mm-hmm.
does he have to do to at least be mentioned? I mean, you're talking about JB Bickerstaff, which I for sure think is a candidate with what he did with Detroit. But then you're talking
Mm-hmm.
about like the coach
Kenny Atkinson.
huh?
Kenny Atkinson from the Cavaliers.
From the Cavaliers. He inherited an already good team that I'm pretty sure did pretty good last year.
Mark on the Thunder. Do you think he deserves it?
I
Or do you
mean,
think it's the players? But I mean, the thing is we're gonna go into all of these honestly. Let's just go with the. Do you want to go into this next segment?
yeah.
Because there's gonna be a lot of teams that we're gonna see here, and it's gonna be like, oh yeah, actually, I think he deserves it. At least to be in the running for it. But so we're just gonna go over here the preseason NBA record predictions and like what everyone, like the analysts or like experts predicted that the teams would go for the whole season. So we're gonna have the regular season standing predicted right here on the right side, and then we're gonna start here with the Milwaukee Bucks. I mean, they're predicted to go 46-36, not far off with 48-34.
Not to mention all the injuries.
Yeah. So give me a quick short response on what you think the Bucks excelled or not.
I think most of the viewers or the people who know basketball and they know the situation behind the Bucks and Doc Rivers don't really know too much about the regular season. I mean, for them to win 2 more games, they're probably thinking, "Who cares? It's all about the postseason." So, regular season wise, that was a
next. Chicago Bulls, 28-54. They blew that out of the water. 39-43 is what they ended up getting. 9th in the East, though. But yeah. Hey, crazy thought though here. Those 2 losses against the Bulls, against the Lakers, if we'd have won those, we'd have been in second, and we would have been playing the Warriors right now. Just saying. But go ahead. What do you think about the Chicago Bulls?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of already said it earlier in the video. I thought that really they were on track for exactly what they were predicted to finish, but something clicked and changed, I think, after the All-Star break. I think after the All-Star break, something changed in terms of their team. Obviously, once they had made that trade to get rid of Zach LaVine, and then they got, the pieces that they got back from that. I think that this team is clearly still young. They are still trying to figure out each other's roles, and something clicked to a point where they were actually going on a streak of wins against not just regular bad teams, but they were actually beating up on good teams. Pretty sure they gave the Nuggets a run for their money. Can't remember if they beat them as well or not, but they definitely had some very good moments in the later half of the regular season this year.
All right, Cleveland Cavaliers, 54-28 preseason prediction. They were actually predicted to go 3rd in the Eastern Conference. Ended up going 1st, 64-18. I mean, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, man. I mean, just like the Thunder, what a season for the Cavs. This is the first time the Cavs have won 60-plus, wins in a season since back when LeBron's first stint was in Cleveland. But the only problem is, once again, just like the Thunder, we don't know what kind of Cleveland team we're going to be getting this postseason. I think a lot of people were disappointed in their play last season. We all felt like we didn't really see the best version of them, just dragging their feet to the finish line. And sometimes that's the worst thing that can happen for teams, because you're talking about the game of basketball, which is all about, fluidity. It's all about movement, motion. It's really about momentum, right? The game of basketball is about momentum. And if you can go into the postseason with some highs, collectively as a team, you have your identity, and you finish out that regular season on a high note. Typically that's what you want, but at the same time, rest your guys. We don't know what kind of injuries the Cavs really went through for the most part this year. Because, I mean, to be honest with you, that's kind of how they had the regular season that they did. They didn't really have a lot of injuries. And so you got to wonder if injury is going to play a part in this postseason for the Cavs. But like I said, man, other than that, I think they had a great regular season, but it's all going to be tested into the postseason.
For the amount of games that they rested people or just didn't try as hard because they knew that they weren't trying to, overexert themselves. My point being is that if they wanted to get 70 wins, they could have.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about that. I mean, who's to say the Thunder couldn't have done that? Who's to say the Cavs couldn't do that? I understand the Celtics are the defending NBA champions. 70 games is a bit of a stretch. There's a reason why in NBA history it's only been done, I think, like 3 or 4 times. It's not as common as you would think. Not to mention, again, injuries. There a lot of people forget in the earlier parts of the regular season for the Celtics, they were playing without KP. You playing without KP is, you can deal with that because you have somebody who's a really good replacement in Al Horford, and because your style of play as a team collectively is all about perimeter offensive play and then defensive play. Usually, you have really good perimeter play as well as a really good shot blocker, Al Horford. Shout out to him with his old age, still playing great too. So, I mean, I hear your point. They're a dominant team without a doubt. But I honestly feel like a part of what you said is for sure right. They kind of were cruising in some ways because that's just the East. Like, if you look at, again, how the East is compared to the West, you can afford to have certain games where you're not showing everything. You're not going all out. But overall, like I said, I think that as amazing as it is, the predictions for the Celtics was spot on. I mean, you can't predict exacts, but for them to literally be just one game off, and it turns out that this team was one game better than was predicted, that's solid. And I think a lot of Celtics fans right now are extremely excited going into, again, this postseason, regardless of matchups. They don't care if they got to play the Magic. They don't care if they got to play the Bulls. They don't care if they the Hawks. They bring them on. Doesn't matter. And the odd thing with season 2 is they're really good on the road. So it don't even matter that the Cavaliers are the number 1 seed. If they are destined for the Eastern Conference Finals where they're playing against the Cavs, I don't think that they really mind that because they actually have the best road record, I'm pretty sure, right now in the NBA overall. So, again, like, I think the Celtics, man, regular season-wise, they did exactly, for the most part, what was predicted. And I would be surprised, like I think a lot of other fans would be surprised at this point if they don't do what's predicted of them in this postseason, which is to make it to the finals once again.
Yeah. It's not even fair, man. Sometimes I wish we were in the East. But then again, I don't know, man. We didn't fare too well against these teams. They got a lot of young teams over there.
That's the weird thing with the Lakers is this season, for some reason, we get up for those Western Conference games, but when it comes to below 500 teams and Eastern Conference, we're doo-doo. Straight garbage, like trash. And I can't make any sense of it. I don't think any of us can. But you know what? All we can say is we're the 3 seed. We're making it to the playoffs. Let's get it.
Yeah, 100%.
Yep.
All right, let's make these Clippers one here. Dang, wait, what?
Wow.
36,
okay.
46.
Let me start this one off, and then you finish it. I'm going to tell you why this is probably the reason. 1, Paul George had just left. They thought and considered Paul George leaving as a major downgrade for this team. Secondly, Russell Westbrook had left and went to the Denver Nuggets. They consider that a loss as well on the bench side. The third thing, which is the most important reason why, is simple. It's health. If Kawhi Leonard is not healthy, which he has not proven he's been really healthy for the past 2-3 years now, you can see a world where they're not good. Now, this bad is a little bit disrespectful. I ain't gonna lie. It's a little disrespectful for the Clippers.
10 games under 500, bro?
It's a little disrespectful to the Clippers. Now, as a Laker fan, Of course, I love to see it. Yeah, last thing, I was just gonna say, that's why it's important to get hot at the right time
Yeah,
into
100%.
the postseason. Now they're talked about as a
Mhm.
very dangerous team because of how they finished the regular season. Go figure, right? Go into the Mavs.
All right, man. The hell season is not over yet. They still got something here. They still got something here.
What they got?
They can hopefully take the Warriors out of the play-in.
Well, first of all, they don't play the Warriors. They play
No,
the
but
Kings.
but we all know they're beating the Kings.
Do we?
We know that.
Do we
Yeah,
really?
I mean, what has
we
DeMar
don't talk. We don't
DeRozan?
talk about the play-in here in a second, in terms of what we really think. But I'm gonna just
Yeah,
keep it a
no,
stack here.
for real.
53 win season. We already know why that didn't happen because Luka got injured. He was out for like 25 games, and then for some reason their genius of ownership. Because I don't really blame Nico like a lot of people do. I don't blame Nico because he was, if anything, he was the puppeteer. He was the scapegoat, the person who had orders from the top. I don't think Nico makes that trade in any other scenario if it's not that ownership. I mean, literally, Mark Cuban said himself, like, there's a reason Mark Cuban is distancing himself from the decisions that are being done in basketball operations right now because of the new ownership and how they're going about everything. Which is a storyline I'm sure a lot of us are going to be very interested to kind of see what's really going on here. Because in what universe do you trade Luka Doncic, who just took your team to the NBA Finals, basically hobbled and hurt on one leg, and still gave them the work? Really, you could argue without Luka, you guys had no business even making it to the finals. Kyrie, amazing guy, love him. Literally, he's a freaking top tier baller. He helped Luka get to the finals, but then he kind of disappeared after that. If Kyrie showed up the way that we know Kyrie to show up, that game is going at the bare minimum 6 or 7 games, and it's a pick 'em at that point. Because he didn't show up, the fact that Luka even was able to get at least one game in that series, being the underdog as the 5 seed, keep in mind, to me, it's like, bro, I'm not even a Mavericks fan, and I'm pissed off. I can't even imagine as a fan base, you have a generational talent for the last 7 years, homegrown since he was a teenager. You've seen him go through his growing pains. You've also witnessed him in his greatness. And now, out of nowhere, in the middle of the night when most of us are sleeping, we wake up the next morning, or before we even get a chance to go to bed, and we get this news. Luka Doncic was just traded to the Lakers. Everybody thinking, oh, Shams must have got hacked. Everybody, like including players. Oh, he must have got hacked. It didn't get hacked. And it's one thing to trade Luka Doncic. You trade Luka Doncic and get AD, who is top tier. I miss AD. Would have loved him on this iteration of the team right now with Luka on our team. He'd be perfect. We'd literally be a perfect team. But you get Anthony Davis, who was still hurt at that time. And then you also get Max Christie, who's still very young and needs to be developed at 21 years old. We've seen, thankfully, glimpse of potential, but that potential is only as good as it's going to go. We still need to see it, and it's still going to take time. And then you get one draft pick. You didn't get 3, 4, 5, 6. You didn't get the haul or nothing.
All right, we got the Memphis Grizzlies. All right, 37-45 preseason prediction. And you might think I'm talking about hot dogs, but I'm not. I'm talking about that John Morant Glizzy he being thrown out. Now, don't find me NBA, all right?
I'm dead.
You don't. I don't have a contract with you.
The Glizzy guns.
Yeah.
I mean yeah, I got you. So wait, is
but
it the
no.
grenade he's throwing now? Is that what you're calling
Yeah,
that?
it's the.
I'm dead.
37-45 preseason prediction. I mean, I don't know. That's kind of surprising though that like they predicted 37-45, and it's because of John Morant being suspended for 25 games. Let me just verify this really quick because I'm pretty damn sure. Ja suspended. Yeah.
No, I think we talked about that before. That was I think a season or two ago. He wasn't
Dude,
suspended much this season. He was hurt.
that was last year.
Yeah, the way that he has left organizations behind, and it's very interesting to think about when it's all said and done, and we look back at Jimmy Butler's career.
Mhm.
What team are we going to really think about Jimmy Butler as that guy? And what team is going to also embrace Jimmy Butler as that guy? Because he's not really had the best endings to these stories. I mean, you look at what he did with Chicago, you look at what he did with Minnesota, you look at what he did with the Sixers, you look at what he did with the Heat. I mean,
Mhm.
everywhere he's gone, there's been issues. And so, yeah, everything is good vibes right now in Golden State, but he's one Draymond Green slap in the face away from, I don't know. That might be more
Uh,
extreme, but my
I
point is,
don't, yeah.
everything is always good. If you notice, like once he moves and he leaves, everything is normally good the first like season and a half. So right now we're only half. I predict next season he will probably have a good season, but after that, he's getting up in age. Same thing with Dre. Same thing with Steph. You're kind of curious to see what the Warriors are going to do as an organization in terms of transitioning these guys from it being about them and who's going to be their next really young solidified star. And I mean, you think it's Jonathan Kuminga, but the way Steve Kerr is coaching right now, he even getting you play in that very important, crucial game against the Clippers. So, we're kind of getting on topic, off topic, but as far as the Heat goes, not really much to say. I mean, I wouldn't say it was a lost season. I wouldn't say it was a great season, a bad season. It was just kind of like a predictable season. You just don't really expect the Heat to do much because as an organization, they have not been doing their part in terms of getting key players to help elevate this team to really a contender like level type of team.
Yeah. Well, Andrew Wiggins, man, like I just don't get it. People talk so highly about Andrew Wiggins, and I'm just like, I can see it sometimes, but then I'm like, he goes from being like almost like a star on the team on the Warriors to a role player type of role player, and then I'm just like, sometimes I don't even notice him. I'm like, bro, be just like a roller coaster ride at Walt Disney World, man. It starts high, goes low, goes in the middle, goes back up, and then eventually the ride's over. But yeah, I don't know, man. I thought Andrew Wiggins would be a lot better for this team, but must be something. But other than the Heat, next. Oh no, it's okay. We don't have to talk about this team. I'm just kidding.
Hey, all we got to say is the Kings will be the Kings.
Fox isn't even there anymore.
The Kings will be the Kings. Next. Ooh, okay, the Knicks.
Oh, wait, hold on, wait. I'm telling you that DeMar DeRozan, I've always loved DeMar, but Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan together is like some kind of curse. I don't know, man.
Like I said, the Kings will be the Kings.
The Kings will be the Kings. The Knicks. Okay, so they kind of underperformed, but to be fair, Jalen Brunson did miss like 15 games. Felt like they definitely could have won a few of those while he was gone. But to finish third in the East, so like 51-31, that's not an easy record. They were expecting them to be at 57. And to be honest, I feel like they could have been.
Yeah.
But
go ahead.
no, I mean, it's just, the New York Knicks, man, Josh Hart, he was a fan favorite when he was in LA. And I mean, he's, for his size, man, he plays hard. OG Anunoby, Jalen Brunson. I think Mitchell Robinson is on the team. He's pretty good. He's kind of like one of those players who just plays really good, but like for some reason the media just doesn't care about him. But I don't know. What do you think about the Knicks?
Yeah, so I think that for the Knicks to finish the way that they did, considering the season they've had, I would say, you should still feel good about your season. Obviously, according to the prediction, they underachieved. However, like you said, Jalen Brunson was injured. I'm pretty sure he was injured for at least about a month and a half with that ankle injury. And then there were also nagging things going on. OG also had a really weird injury when they played against the Lakers in the middle of the game. Glad to see he's recovered from that. My only interesting thing that I really am curious to see is if they keep Tibbs after this season, because it is very known at this point that he loves to play the starting five, starting 6, 7, whatever you want to call it. Really, I say starting because if you're not like the top 6 or 7 in his hierarchy, you're not getting any play. And we've heard multiple reports this season from Mikal Bridges, and I believe even Josh Hart, and even Karl-Anthony Towns. I'm pretty sure when he just got traded, he's not trying to be playing all these high minutes. High minutes resolve and typically high likelihood of being injured, which we saw this season. And if you're a Knicks fan, like we talked about earlier in the video, I'm not really feeling that comfortable with the idea of playing against the Detroit Pistons. This isn't just some regular Detroit Pistons team this season. This is a Detroit Pistons team that's really embodied Detroit. I've never been to Detroit, but I loved watching the Bad Boys of Detroit. And I've also seen different intervals of the Detroit Pistons in the 21st century. And one thing that all these Detroit teams had was that grit, that grind, and that workers' mentality that you just got to love as a blue-collar person. And it seems like if I'm a Knicks fan, I don't really feel comfortable with the thought of going in a slugfest with the Pistons, especially since the Pistons have arguably the best player that's going to be showing up on the court in Cade Cunningham. If he's not the best, he definitely is one of the best. And then you got some rogue, I wouldn't say dogs, but you got some menacing people in Saucer and obviously Stewart. You got a lot of people that are comfortable with getting under your skin. You got to wonder if the Knicks are going to be tough enough and equipped to deal with that during the postseason. So regular season wise, I mean, yeah, it was a little bit of a letdown, but not that much. I mean, they were predicted to be the 2 seed. They're the 3 seed. I don't think anybody really predicted the Cavaliers to have the season they did, which is really the outlier. Outside of that, they would have been right there.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't see them advancing to. I don't see them advancing to the finals for sure. I don't know if I even see them advancing past the first round. I mean, the Pistons might be something, but moving on. Next. All right. The Lakers, 48-34. Regular season prediction here. The final results, 50 wins, 32 losses. I mean, with all the moving parts that they had, I mean, JJ Redick did really well, like you were talking about. I mean, we didn't have AD there for a week. We didn't have LeBron there for like what it felt like a month. Didn't have Rui there. I mean, I know we say every team is going to be like, we just had this game right here. We did this game right here. I mean, like it truly felt like, we're better than our record actually is, especially now after the Luka trade. I mean, how can other teams even really scout like how our team's been playing against their team when we haven't even played most of their team? So Lakers definitely go to the finals for sure.
What do you think about the regular season, though, before I go? Because according to this, I mean, it looks like they won 2 more games than was predicted. So they weren't that off.
No. I mean, like I said, for the regular season, I mean, I just think that we're better than our record shows. And so you can't look at our record and be like, oh, yeah, 50-win team. I mean, I feel like we're definitely better than a 50-win team. Like LeBron's not trying to go all out. Luka, I feel like Luka actually does try to go all out, but then again, I mean, in the playoffs, he elevates for sure. But it was a good regular season for the Lakers. Like I said, I think Rue even said in one of the post game conferences, like on this after the Rockets game, which was on Friday, I believe, that JJ's goal at the beginning of the season was to get 50 wins and the third seed, and so it's just like, is it not just like perfect that they got it right at the end? I mean, that's pretty impressive.
Oh, absolutely. So I mean, let me just put it this way. What I'm seeing right now is if you take a look at that Western Conference prediction, really outside of OKC and Denver, everything is wrong. Dallas, nobody could have predicted they were going to have the season they were going to have. Simple as that. A lot of people this season were high on Minnesota with reason, because they just went to the Western Conference Finals last year, and they decided to do very similar to what Dallas did, which is trade arguably their best player, if not at least their second best player, in Karl Anthony Towns, and then replaced it with Julius Randle. Then you also have New Orleans. I can't even like really speak on that, because what has New Orleans actually done to show you that they're a solidified playoff team? Nothing. It's all just hype. They love the idea of Zion Williamson finally taking that leap of being an adult and not bringing his personal stuff into his professional life, and really just being true to the game, because if you're true to the game, you have greatness in you. People truly believe in the greatness in Zion, yet he proves every season you can't rely on him when it matters, right? And then you got Denver. I mean, shoot, Denver at 4 or 5, you got it nailed. Perfect. Okay?
Yeah.
The Suns, I mean, we could do a whole video on the Suns and their terrible season, but
yeah,
let's put it to you this way, man. The fact that, once again, the Lakers were predicted to be in the play-in, not only did we dodge the play-in, but we had the second best record in the Western Conference, which is the hardest conference. We went toe-to-toe with the Thunder, who have had the best record in the NBA for the majority of the season. Everybody said it's OKC and then the others. They didn't give us a chance. We were like a 9.5 or 12.5 point underdogs that first matchup against them. We blew it out by 30. The fact that we went and had a 50-game win season in a stacked Western Conference with a bunch of other teams who were right there, and just so people understand, yes, we did tie in terms of the win columns with the Nuggets and the Clippers, but we beat them more times, and we also had the tiebreaker. I believe we went like 2-2 with the Nuggets. So, but because we had the tiebreaker in terms of the conference play and everything, we went out on that. Yeah. The division, correct.
Yeah.
And then also, this is the part that I'm just like, man, the slander, bro, that the media was giving the Lakers all postseason about how could you hire JJ Redick, a podcaster? Oh, it had been LeBron's doing. LeBron really just got his podcasting buddy to be the Los Angeles Lakers head coach. He's had zero head coaching experience. The only head coaching experience that we know JJ to do was a volunteer fourth grade team, which FS1 posted in a way to clown the Lakers' decision to get JJ Redick. Now, I'm not saying this as in I had predicted that JJ was going to have this great of a season, but I like to at least see with my own eyes what you can do. If you actually paid attention to the podcast that LeBron did with JJ, you can see that JJ is a very not just analytical guy, but you can tell he has certain tangibles and leadership quality traits that you don't just see average people, let alone players, have. You could kind of see JJ potential in terms of being a coach. But it's because he was the Lakers head coach and because he's the coach with LeBron, that was the problem. And to me, again, it's the fact that he did all this stuff. And like I said earlier, he really coached 3 seasons in 1 season, dealt with all the injuries, all the trade issues going on. Let's not mention he drafted Dalton Knecht, who was then traded and then rescinded and came back. And now when you look at Dalton, it don't even look like he's really dealing with nothing anymore mentally because of JJ's leadership. So to me, I can go on and on about the Lakers, but I'm going to just keep it like this, man. The Lakers are not afraid of anybody. The Lakers have 2 of the 3 most intelligent basketball IQ players in the game right now. There's LeBron, Luka, and Jokic. We got 2 of the 3. We can go toe-to-toe with anybody, but I'm going to be an objective Laker fan. We can also lose to anybody. We've seen this Lakers team have their ebbs and their flows. So I'm definitely curious to see what version of the Lakers are we getting. Are we getting the version of the Lakers that we love, where they're putting defense first and letting offense flow through each other, communicating on the defensive end, and then actually getting motion and fast break points and setting up their defense and things of that nature in the half court, which they're really good at? Are we getting that version of Lakers? Or are we getting the version of Lakers where you get a bad call here and there, you're, duking it out with the refs, duking it out with the fans, and, again, we talk about officiating. I'm curious to see how the officiating is going to be with the Lakers this postseason, because I'm telling you right now, if JT Orr is one of the refs for a Lakers game, I mean, I'm not trying I'm not trying to say sports bettors beware. You already know what to do, but I don't think you can have JT Orr be reffing the Lakers at all in terms of at least this postseason until that whole thing gets figured out. But yeah, man, Lakers, I thought they had a fantastic season, and they're definitely primed to have a very good postseason. Let's hope that is the case. And if it's not, then hey, I also remember when they were also saying early on when the Luka trade happened, oh, you can scrap this year for the Lakers. It's really a move for the future. It's not a move for now. It's a move for the future. So let's see how the media kind of turns things around if the Lakers don't go far for some reason this season. And let's see how they're quick to just kind of, poo-poo on the Lakers after they literally just talked about earlier when the trade happened. Oh, don't expect much from the Lakers. I'm pretty sure Brian Windhorst said that. So I'm also going to be paying attention to see how he responds if something does happen as well.
Yeah. No, I feel like a lot of people who weren't on the Lakers bandwagon, like analyst-wise, like, for example, Charles Barkley, like at this point, he can't say the Lakers are good because he's already said they've been so bad that he's got to go with the Clippers. The Clippers are his new favorite right now because they're not the Lakers. So it's just like it's revenge season. It's that time.
I just don't understand why it's so hard for a grown man to take their pride aside and just admit when you're wrong. I don't understand it. If I'm wrong,
that old school mentality for sure.
Let me know if I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But me personally, I'm like, look, if you made a bad take on a team and that team ended up showing better than you predicted, at least have the decency and the humility to give them their props. Because, again, the Lakers were not really predicted to do anything this season. They were predicted to go 8. We jumped all the way to 3. And we had some of the best games this season broadcasted. Just about every single Laker game is literally national TV, it seems like, with the way that ESPN talks about them every freaking day. As a Lakers fan, it's exhausting just to hear about the media talk about the Lakers every day. I like to learn about other teams myself. So that's why we honestly wanted to start this channel, is simply because we don't get a chance to hear a lot about the other teams outside of Lakers. All we hear about is LeBron this, LeBron that, the Lakers this, the Lakers that, Luka this, Luka that. I want to hear about other teams, and I want to know what's going on in those teams' lives as well. So, yeah.
No, 100%. Orlando Magic, 48-34. Ended up going 41-41. Now, that actually kind of surprises me. They actually thought that they would do better than what they did. even though I feel like the Magic did do better than what I thought they would by the eye test, but yet they're still 7 games under what the prediction was. I don't understand how, because they didn't underachieve through the season, but I guess they did fall a little bit. They tapered off during the middle and end of the season for sure. So, but I mean, they're still a good team. I mean, they had some injuries, but I think the Magic 6th in the Eastern Conference as a prediction before the NBA season started. I mean, that's. I mean, wait, aren't they're in the? Oh yeah, they're 7th.
They're 7th.
Yeah. Huh.
Yeah.
Do you think they go anywhere into the playoffs?
It's all about matchups, and certain matchups make certain styles.
Mhm.
I'm just gonna be straightforward. I don't think the Magic really have a chance if you're going up against Cleveland. If you're going up against the Celtics, I would have maybe given them a little bit more of a chance if they were going against the Knicks, only because the Knicks really, outside of Karl Anthony Towns, who doesn't really play as big as he is, and Mitchell Robinson, who, kind of came later in the regular season, still needs to get his footing. I mean, you could arguably still take advantage of the Knicks in the paint if you got that size. So, but
Yeah.
outside of that, I mean, it kind of goes back to what I said earlier. The Magic, you can't really feel disappointed per se because they finished 1 seed less than was predicted. However,
Yeah.
they were dealing with a lot of injuries this season. When Paolo went down, remember the Magic were actually a top 3 or 4 seed in the East. A lot of people forget about that. They were literally, I think, a 3 or 4 seed before Paolo got hurt earlier in the season. Once that happened, now the team didn't become Paolo's team; it became Franz's team. And Franz had a really good season, I felt like, this year. But I also think that they had a difficulty finding balance in terms of, knowing their roles, and also again the injuries. Injuries do play a big factor, and like I said, the Magic. I think that this was a fair season. I'm not mad at it. I'm also not happy at it. But I do think that this is a season where you kind of just try to go as far as you can and rebuild for next season. You got a full year of just kind of seeing how the whole Franz and Paolo combo looks. You also got to remember too, Jalen Suggs, he was out.
Oh yeah, that's true.
So that's what I'm saying.
True.
Same with KCP. KCP had a lot of times in the season where he was in and out, and so again, this is one of those seasons where for the Magic, you can't really be upset because at the end of the day, you got what you got. You still finish at least 7th for now. We'll see what they actually end up finishing, after the play-in here soon. But can't be mad at it.
All right, let's jump through these last ones here.
Yep.
Let's make it quick. Denver Nuggets, 50-32.
I already said what I need to say.
50-32. Yeah, I mean Mike Malone firing, Jokic just on a tear, Jamal Murray tearing something in his legs. I don't know what's going on with him. But if they end up playing the Lakers, just expect him to turn into prime Michael Jordan.
Well, it's going to be a lot for them to make it to the Lakers. They're on the opposite side of the bracket. They have to go through the Clippers. They have to go through the Thunder, because the Thunder are going to win their 1 through 8. We already know that. Just to get to the Lakers. So arguably, I don't see a world where the Nuggets are going to come out on top. I mean, they already have questions with their depth outside of their starting 5. You don't really have much of a bench that you can rely on outside of like Russell Westbrook, and even him, sometimes he is unpredictable, and sometimes there's a lot of beauty in the simple things and in predictability. You know what you're getting a lot of times with predictability compared to unpredictable. Sometimes you might get something amazing. Other times you might get something that'll cost you, like we saw in one of those games recently. So, for the Nuggets, I will say it's crazy that they actually got this one on the dot in terms of the record. But I can tell you, they definitely never predicted Michael Malone getting fired, as well as the GM Booth. So, I mean,
Yeah.
Again, me being an objective Laker fan, you gotta kind of, if you are a Nuggets fan, you definitely feel conflicted because this is a team that just won a championship 2 years ago, just not that long ago. You had a chance to make somewhat of a run last season until basically
We ran into the Wolves.
Anthony Edwards came out of
Mhm.
nowhere and just had an amazing postseason run last season. But yeah, I mean, yeah, that's the Nuggets for you.
Pacers 51-31. Final results 50-32. One win under. Fourth in the East. They actually were projected to go fourth in the East, so pretty on point. I don't have much to say about the Pacers. Tyrese Halliburton, he's a good guy. He just seems like a good guy. Miles Turner, though, been a Lakers target for years. Still never left. But the Pacers, I mean, I think so. They're fourth in the East. I think the standings, fifth, the Bucks. I think that they end up. I feel like they end up beating the Bucks for some reason.
We're gonna do a different video for that prediction.
But yeah, the regular season though, it was. I don't know what it is, but I just feel like they don't get covered as much. The Pacers don't get covered as much, but they had a good season. It's also the East, of course, but I mean, it's a good season. It's a good season. I mean, you can't be mad about that. I mean, what they have Andrew Nembhard, they have Pascal Siakam, Miles Turner, Tyrese. They have some good players. They're quick, but I mean, other than that, though, it's just the Pacers. They ain't winning the championship.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. It is unfortunate for the Pacers that they are a small market team, and most small market teams don't really get the same coverage as other big market teams. Obviously, like the Lakers, the Knicks, the Celtics. Even this season, like the Thunder, they randomly got a little bit more coverage, but even barely. With all the wins that they did. Same thing with the Cavaliers. So in terms of the Pacers, I think the only bad thing that you can think of for the Pacers is they're in the same conference with the Celtics and the Clippers and even the Knicks. And now you got all these other questions like
you see the Clippers?
No, I'm talking about the East, just the East.
Yeah.
So you got.
You said they're in the same conference as the Celtics, the Clippers, the Knicks. You probably said Cavaliers, but maybe I missed it. I don't know, man. It's late.
I know you're tired, bro. I know, but no. My point though is the Pacers. They definitely are a good home team. So the fact that they are going to be hosting, this postseason is going to be good. We'll talk about that in a video. But I think for the regular season, if you're a Pacers fan, you're okay with that. At least you get a first round
at
home series. In a way, the Pacers and the Bucks, it's almost like the last at least year or two, it seemed like they have been kind of like going back and forth. Like I remember it like in the end season tournament last year, there was a lot of stuff going on, and to me, like if I'm a Pacers fan, I'm not really scared of the Bucks, but at the same time, you're not feeling super confident that you're gonna really handle them. Like I could see this series legitimately going 6 or 7 games, and it could go either way. It could go Bucks, it could go Pacers, and I don't think anybody would be surprised of either result. Like it's one of those matchups that is kind of but yeah, in terms of regular season, the Pacers definitely, they had a good season. They had a 50-win season. Again, we talked about a lot of teams been really winning this year. So
nothing special about the Pacers for me. I mean, good team, good players, but I just, with how good the Cavs and the Celtics are, I just don't see it. But Pistons, let me say this before we go. They had a 28 game losing streak literally just last year. To go from that to this, that's crazy. And like Cade was on the team last year, but I just felt like it just wasn't the pieces around, young team. But yeah, I mean sixth in the East right now, and they're projected to go 12th. So they definitely killed it. But give me your 2 cents about the Pistons, and I'm on to the next.
If I'm a Pistons fan, this is all you need to see to make my case for JB Bickerstaff being Coach of the Year. That's a 20 more point difference. You just said they went on a 26, 28 game losing streak, which was a remarkable situation. And this just goes to show coaching does still matter in the NBA. We're always perceived to think that in the NFL it's really more about coaching, but in the NBA it's really more just about the players. This right here just goes to show the coach is still very important. They bring that culture. And I think that JB Bickerstaff has done an amazing job in terms of bringing that culture in. You see it in the interviews, in the controversy that he's had with certain, situations with certain games where he got, thrown out and, technicals and things of that nature. Man, yeah, Detroit is definitely here, and hopefully they're here to stay because I think basketball is really good with Detroit being relevant. And we definitely need more relevant teams in the East to start stepping up because this can't keep being a cakewalk for teams like the Celtics like they had last season. We need to give them some challenges. Yeah.
The Rockets, man, I think a young team, Jalen Green, like you said, one game can light you up. The next game, he'll be benched in the fourth quarter, a.k.a. the Lakers game. I just Şengün, man, he tough. He tough. But they definitely upped their game. Preseason, regular season prediction. Final results 52-30, second in the West. They just kept winning, man. I kept thinking we were gonna get that second seed, but they just kept on winning. But
yeah, man. I mean, shoot, Houston, shout out Houston. They were predicted to go to the 9th seed. The 9th seed. That right there, like everything I just said about the Lakers, you could say for the Rockets. Like the job that, again, we talk about coaching. The job that their coaching did this season to help them take that next level. And I also think a lot of it too was their basically the word I'm looking for. Their ability to pick up the pieces that they picked up in this offseason was very, very huge. I think that's the biggest difference just from last season compared to this season. I mean, getting Dylan Brooks on your team, bringing that grittiness, that toughness that, like you just said earlier, the Grizzlies are clearly missing right now is huge. And then you also go ahead and sign Fred VanVleet. Very underrated. I mean, I know he's small, but he's very mighty. Just like the Green, though, has moments depending on matchups. And so I think that's the reason why a lot of people don't really know what to think about or what to do with the Rockets. A lot of people dismiss the Rockets in the media in terms of being a serious contender. But don't be surprised if this team does go further than you expect. Like, 100%. We don't know who's going to end the 7th seed. If it is the Warriors, you can easily say Steph, Dre, Jimmy.
All right, Vince. Enough about the Rockets.
No, you're good.
No, bro, I'm so fucking dead. I'm not even like, dude. I'm like literally hurting over here sitting in this chair. But we can wrap this up. The Thunder, they never won in the West. Good shit. Golden State Warriors, good shit. I mean, what do you think about the Thunder? Do you think they're gonna win it?
I think it's not going to be as much of a cakewalk as the rest of the media is talking about. You can't sit here and tell the public that it's the wild west with all these great teams, and then sit here and say that it's OKC and then everybody else. Like Kim Perkins especially is crazy for his takes when it comes to Oh yeah, no. I predict Celtics and Thunder. The Thunder are making it to the finals. Like that's almost like Draymond Green saying, "Oh yeah, the Warriors we're making it to the finals." And now here you are in the seventh seed, barely hanging by a thread going to the play-in. So
Hmm.
I think that it was again a great regular season, but postseason we'll have to see how legit this team really is.
Yeah, no, for sure. Um, Golden State Warriors. I mean, I'm curious to see, man. I mean, he promised a championship, so he's definitely got the marbles to talk for sure. But um, I don't know. We'll see with the playing situation how that goes because it all matters. Because if they end up playing the Rockets, they could move on, but they ain't got no rest. If they end up moving back and playing and losing that first playing game and end up, you know, winning the second playing game, then they got to play OKC. That's gonna be tough. But how far do you think the Golden State Warriors make it?
Again, matchups. I mean, I think that if you're a Warriors fan, you are praying to the stars above that you're winning
Mm-hmm.
tomorrow. Because if there's any
Mm-hmm.
team that really needed rest outside of the Lakers, it was the Warriors. You guys are a much
Mm-hmm.
older team than a lot of the other teams that you're going to be seeing. And on top of that, that thriller of a game that we just saw the other night against the Clippers also resulted in a injury that we might have to really pay close attention to with Jimmy Butler. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and if I'm the Warriors, I want to get this 7 seed out the way. I want to get an extra couple of days of rest in preparation for, my matchup against the Rockets and call it good. Get some rest and you're good. If you don't
Mm-hmm.
win that game, which is still possible, because you guys are 0-3 in the play-in. Let's not forget and act like that's not a thing. You guys are 0-3 in the
That's
play-in.
true.
I'm just saying there is a world where you could go 0-4. Now, if you go 0-4 and now you're playing for that 8 seed, you're talking about playing either the Kings or
Mm-hmm.
the Mavericks. Yes, you're going to take the Warriors in those matchups, but again, anything can happen in the West. So to me, it's the same thing in some ways like the Lakers. They can make a very deep run, but they could also wet the bed and lose in the first round or not even make the playoffs in this case.
Yeah, we'll see. The Wolves. I all I gotta say is Ant Man, Batman, Aquaman. Like is it? We'll see. I
Being
think
the
I think
yeah,
I think they had a good season. Um, it wasn't as good as we thought, but I mean Ant Man he definitely shot them threes this season. He had the most 3 pointers in more than Malik Beasley by one, which is crazy. Malik Beasley shooting 300 threes in a season. Get out of
kid,
here, Malik,
the
bro.
Lakers apparently.
And then Steph Curry with like 312 threes in a season after missing like a lot of time too. So it's like, you know, um, he definitely upped his game, but I just don't think that he's ready to take on that leadership role in on the Wolves just yet. I mean, he's still got some immaturities to him. Um, Plus, Rudy Gobert is not the player that people think he is. I mean, he's a good player, but like for some reason, it just does not translate to wins, and he gets played off the floor. I mean, Luka beat him last year in the playoffs by himself. It felt like so. I mean, obviously Kyrie did his thing, and the whole team helped out, of course. But like, I mean, Luka really took him out. Rudy Gobert will get played off the floor if in this series. I feel that I really do.
This okay, so yeah, we're just talking regular season. I almost have to remind myself. If we're talking regular season, I mean, they were 4 games less than what was predicted. I need to figure out if these predictions happen to have happened before or after that trade happened with Karl Anthony Towns and Julius Randle,
Hmm.
because it does make a difference. And I will definitely say the Wolves definitely let a lot of people down this year in terms of how they're finishing their season. 6 is not terrible, but based off of what we saw last season, them making it to the Western Conference Finals the way that I don't say Anthony Davis, Anthony Edwards really kind of solidified himself as a postseason player.
Mhm.
You kind of hope that would translate to the regular season, but as a Laker fan, you definitely hope it doesn't translate in the postseason because he's a bad man. That kid, I mean, he ain't a kid. He's 23, 24. I'm
He's a
pretty
kid.
sure. But he's the real deal. And I'm hoping that I'm gonna keep it a stack. Like I'm an objective Lakers fan. I'm not like a super fan to the point where you're like delusional. I'm a objective fan. I could see this legitimately going 6 games. I think that like, and I know I'm talking playoffs, but I could see it going 6 games, just because you got to
Mhm.
respect that man, Anthony Edwards, and not to mention you do still have Mike Conley, who does fill in that leadership role. Rudy Gobert, especially against this Lakers team, without going too far into detail, I think he actually has a chance to redeem himself. Um, I think the Wolves, like I said, regular season wise, not much of a disappointment, compared to what was predicted. However, if we're
Mhm.
talking standings, not the best season.
Yeah. Yeah. No, 100%. Well, we'll see you tomorrow, playing game, and then we'll see the Wolves on Saturday. So gear up. Let's get ready to go. All
Yes,
right,
sir.
brother.
Hey, go ahead and if you like the video, send a like and subscribe. Share with your friends, people that you like the content with. We always appreciate the support here at Real Talk with Russ and Vince. Other than that, man, we're very excited to see what the postseason is going to look like this season, as well as the play-in games. Man, I think that the play-in really, really did it. It's going to be doing its thing this season. So very
Yeah.
excited. Stay tuned, and for more content, stay tuned.
Yeah, guys, and hey, like I said, feel free to leave a comment in the comment section. We try to read all the comments that come through. We'll reply to as many as that we can, and we just always appreciate all the love and support you guys give to us. And so, thank you, appreciate it. We'll see you in the playoffs. Peace. Salute.